they retained enough knowledge to be of benefit to the rest of the world. And I think their knowledge, which, apart from saying, hey, how great things were, was also, this is how you work with the land. This is how you...
Yeah, this is how you look after the land.
Live in harmony.
This is how you live in harmony. This is how you farm the land. This is how you do this. And this is the spiritual context with which you do it.
Not just how to look after the land, but how to look after yourselves medically, spiritually, scientifically.
That is very interesting.
And then what happened is this. The problem is this, and this is why I go down 1500 BC when it ended. It goes like this. So remember, Australia... You had Gondwana land, which was a big first you had Pangaea, the big Gondwana land. The forest, there's still remnants, and survived the bushfires, thank goodness, but there's still remnants of what was once a primeval forest that was 40 million years old.
Yes.
So we had a forest in Australia that covered most of it for 40 million years. Then what happened is, as the continent moved upwards, it started to dry out and got smaller and smaller and smaller until it covered only like a tenth of its size, which was around here. Around Byron Bay.
Okay.
So the
megafauna.
Yeah. And then the white people came, and then that got wiped out. And, all this got, for farming practices, it all got decimated.
Well, you can make a lot of tables out of big trees, mate.
Make tons of nice tables in Europe. And then what happens is you've got a few isolated patches. There's, now national parks, which are just a tenth of a tenth of a tenth of a tenth. But what happened is, I think when the Aboriginals took over the right to share the knowledge and said, look, we'll be the custodians of the knowledge, you get on with building civilizations, and we'll get on with learning what was lost.
And you come to us, we'll initiate you, bring you through the Stonehenge.
And you have to do that. It's not just me telling you, because there's super powerful crap here. There's profound thoughts and philosophies that we have to digest into your brain to get back to your place so you can be wise and moral and ethical and do the right thing where you come from. And I think that worked. For about 10,000 years, I think that worked. But then a problem occurred which sparked the Agrarian Revolution. Because if the Aboriginal people, I think, could farm if they felt like it, but only farmed when they needed to for a point of time when the environment said it's a good idea.
Yes. They were one with the land. They didn't do it because they...
Yeah, they didn't decide to do it. They decided
to create...
They read the land and they read the stars and they said, now's the time to... They reacted. And it was a mutual. It's like a love affair.
Yeah.
But what happened so they said, this is how you are. Like, how do we eat? Or you don't go hunting. Like, if you look at I'll give you a story, for example. The most popular story that we all know, if you know anything about Aboriginal myths and legends, is the formation of the Southern Cross, which is on our Australian flag. And that's all about the story that's told universally on that one is it was formed because there were three Aboriginals. It was during a time of drought, and they couldn't eat food. And two of them there was male and female, and then a third male. And the male and female together decided not to eat it. Not to eat what was forbidden still. We'd rather die than eat the forbidden food. One Aboriginal who met him, who was quite healthy, said, well, I'm actually eating the possum, whatever it was, which you're not meant to eat. Okay? When he ate the forbidden fruit, he died and his body became the stars. Okay, and that's what we have on our flag.
Interesting you mentioned the forbidden fruit.
Yeah, the
cycle repeats itself.
Or the forbidden food, the taboo.
Yeah.
So he broke the taboo, but in a sense, that's okay, because that's part of what you have to do, the rebellious edge, to survive, to evolve the land, knowing when are you being stupid, when are you being brave, part of that, when's the wisdom to know what to do. So what's interesting is, so in their own laws, they have this idea that it's better to die than to destroy the land.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for example, how do I put it? So
it's better to sacrifice yourself than the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and the needs of the many is the land that we exist on.
Exactly. And then what I think is this. So that idea that you don't have to kill, like Buddha, apparently when he reached enlightenment, he was under Siddhartha tree, and he refused to eat, and he only ate bird droppings that fell on his shoulders. So he decided, I'm going to die until I reach enlightenment, and I'm not going to kill anything anymore. I'm going to eat shit on my shoulders. I'm going to be that intense. And I think the Aborigines had a similar philosophy that, like, you'll kill the animals that come to you.
Yeah.
You'll do the fire burning that doesn't burn the trees, and the ones that will race out actually race into their death, but that's okay. It's part of the great system. We worship those animals. They are part of you. They're our ancestors. There was such a correlation, such a mutual respect for everything, that you didn't have to have farms. But then what happened was their philosophies were fine during the Ice Age.
Yeah.
But as the Ice Age ended and the climate became drier up north, all these people would come here to learn. The Aborigines would say, this is what you do.
Yeah.
And then they go back to their own land, to Egypt, And they're like, oh, so we're meant to just wait for the ibises to fly to us now, when now it's all desert?
Yeah.
So as the environment's changed up north, they said, stuff this, we're going to dig, we're going to build more,
Yeah,
and we're going
become
to
egalitarian.
We're going to egalitarian.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that, and the reason I go for 1,500 BC, I know this is odd, but it was a hunch. I read that the Aborigines had no word for cancer, that they didn't have cancer, and that white people's interpretation of that is, yeah, they had cancer, they just didn't have a word for it.
Right.
Okay, when I think they just didn't have cancer.
Yeah.
Because I think cancer, this is just me again, is a reaction to us when we stubbornly refuse to do something.
Yes.
Whether we refuse to acknowledge a guilt in our heart, whether we are inflicting pain on someone and recording a pattern, that society puts into us, like I'm male, you're female, whatever, I need to be conservative, whatever it is, we get locked into structures we don't evolve ourselves humanly.
And it poisons us in our soul.
It poisons us in our soul, in ourselves.
Yeah.
The first sign of cancer came from ancient Egypt, and cancer was named after the cancer star system, and the first cancer cases happened in ancient Egypt in 1500 BC. So I thought that's interesting, because that's when they stopped moving. They stopped. They said, we're going to set these up forever. We're going to make these patterns. We're not going to change. We're going to bow the land to us. We're going to build.
They stopped being one with the land.
And it's also when the death penalty came into play in ancient Egypt. And there was.
So they stopped being egalitarian. They weren't. No, because egalitarian's equal, isn't it?
Egalitarian's equal. They stopped in 1500 BC to being egalitarian. So I think what happened is the relevance of the Aboriginal teaching became lost as the environments changed, and then the Aboriginal people, because the idea is they stay here and they learn and they meditate and they teach and sing and whatever and teach you. Whenever they went overseas, it was only more of a diplomatic embassy. That's why you see images in ancient Egypt of Aboriginals, and there's one or two.
Yeah, there's a few, and in South America and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they'd send a few embassies out just to say we exist.
We're still here.
But we're not actually going to teach you. Come to us. So that was the idea. It was the Second Empire that didn't dominate other kingdoms, that dominated in an intellectual sense. And kingdoms came to. But eventually the final break happened in 1500 BC, where they said this: we're not going to go back anymore, and we're going to wipe any existence that they ever taught us anything off the face of the earth. And I think that's why when you look at when they shoot the destruction of the nose on the Sphinx. The defacing of the monuments, all the most defacings, and they say it was because there was a female king that came in, a female pharaoh, and they wanted to hide that all up and hush that up. But I think what they were defacing was evidence, and what they were destroying was evidence that. And by then, there was less and less visits to Australia.
Yes.
So it wasn't hard to do the final
less important. Yeah.
So it wasn't hard to do the final cutting and cover up. But I think when they came again, when Captain Cook came again, I've got a feeling there was a body of people who thought, let's go back, not just go back and let's finish the job. We've wiped them out where we are. Let's just wipe out any evidence of Aborigines where they are, just to finish the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's part of the deeper conspiracy.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. Yeah, there might have been some initiated people who knew the old stories.
Well, I mean, you talk about the higher levels of the echelons of society in England. That, as you say, the Masonic symbols are still the same symbols that are found in the rock art that are found everywhere. So
Captain Cook said when he communicated with Aborigines when he went up and down the coast, because him and his men were Freemasons. Yeah,
and they could speak to them in that language.
They could speak to them in that language.
Yeah.
So, but I think, although they say, and so it was really important in Terra Nullius, it was very important. I think we could argue that there was a covert coup, a final put down on the Aboriginal people. If we just do that, if we just wipe them all out, that's the end of the story. And we've always been when civilization always was what we think it is, and we've always been the masters.
That's the end of the narrative.
End of the narrative. And I think they expected the story to end, but I think they didn't know about Australia's Stonehenge.
Yes, and it survived.
Yeah, and there were so many of them.
Exactly. It wasn't just one. There was hundreds that existed up and down the east coast.
They did their fastest. I think the people here, and I don't think it was any organised. You're going to do this for this reason. It was just say, hey, we'll give you land as long as you clear it all out.
Yes.
There were certain directives people followed up, thinking one thing. This is for our benefit.
We'll give you this land, but you need to clear it.
Yeah.
Yet the overarching, as you say, you enter into the conspiracy theory. The overarching is they'll clear the land for us. We don't have to do it.
Exactly. And we'll wipe out the Aborigines and say that they're barbarians and just keep it at that.
Which they quite obviously weren't. They were an ancient, advanced, spiritual culture that we can't even begin to understand.
So why are we allowed to talk now? I think because some of those people in those organisations that might have known all this, I think they realised they were wrong.
Yeah.
I think they went, you know what? We've got this climate change thing going on.
Yeah.
We've got certain things happening to
Oh,
the
yeah,
world now.
we've sort of fucked the planet.
Yeah,
we
it wasn't really. We were meant
didn't have the right idea.
Yeah, maybe they did know some shit.
Yeah,
Because maybe it was less relevant when we were bound. You had to be in Egypt, so it made sense not to follow them. But now that we're actually more mobile and we can maybe reach for the stars,
yeah,
maybe
and we can actually, if we access and understand what they understood, then we can maybe apply it worldwide.
exactly, and we. Yeah, and the idea of commodities, the idea that we've got limited amounts of resources we have to dig.
We're playing an infinite game on a finite planet.
Exactly. When there's an infinite universe,
yeah,
they could have possibly other civilizations going through the same dramas right now.
Well, mate, I can't actually think of a better way to end that. I think
pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool way to end it.
It's very speculative.
Oh, absolutely. We're playing with ideas. Yeah. However, it does ring a bell. It does, that it's not out of the realms of possibility.
I know if you speak to me in a year's time, I'll have a more advanced theory.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, mate, you're welcome back anytime.
You're very kind to come here and speak to me. I really appreciate it, and thank you for know that you have people who want to hear.
Oh, mate, it's the Australian Stonehenge podcast has been one of the most popular podcasts that I've done to date. So you doing your work has helped me with my work, and it's a never-ending circle.
Yeah, just for anyone in Australia or anywhere who's listening to this, it has been on television, it has been on documentaries in the US and other countries. Millions of people are getting to hear this story, and it'd be a shame if the people who are going through the bushfires, who we're in touch by what's happening in the world, and I think it's important that at least. You don't have to do anything, but at least knowing's a good idea. Knowing and sharing. Spread the word. And spread the word. Tell everyone, about it. If you're not sure whether elders here say it's okay, then check out this area and find out what the elders in this particular area say about sharing knowledge, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I think what I'm learning and what I'm understanding is that a lot of these sites that were here in Australia, they were for everybody. They weren't just for us, and the knowledge needs to spread, and we need to share it. And if you meet a relative and you just say, "Oh, I heard a really good podcast," and you can't put it all into words, just give them a hug, because two arms are half a circle. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So where can people find you, mate? Obviously, you're at Australian Stonehenge site. Okay, you can find me in Ocean Shores. Yeah. But my website, and it's a weird spelling, so if you want to go to the website, it's got everything you need to know, and it's in the menu. You can go to Australia Stonehenge in the menu at the top. It's the words Patestos, which is my old Greek name, my birth name, and you spell Patestos, Patestos, patestos.com. That'll have tons of photos of the henge, photos of the documents, links to different things, narratives about what happened here. Mm-hmm. I'm just sharing it, and I'll continue to do that while I'm being asked to. Absolutely, mate. Well, thank you very, very much for your time. Obviously, Australia Stonehenge, all that sort of stuff. I might put some links on the page and put some... and have a quick chat about it. Luckily now I'm not the only one who's talking about it, so you can get different opinions, which is always a good thing. Absolutely, mate. Well, thank you very much for your time, mate. Much appreciated. Thank you, Triffin. Thank you for that nice shirt, by the way. Oh yes, feeling is healing. Yes, feeling is healing. Yes, it is. And it relates to everything we've said today. Oh, look, we're all traumatized for one reason or another, and everyone struggles. And if it wasn't for me recognizing that I'm human and don't know much, and I understand suffering, and we're all going through turmoil. We're all just trying to be good people. I think deep down, absolutely. And I think deep down we're all just take away colour. We're all just points of light. Absolutely, and we're just trying to navigate the chaos, man. That's it, and seek the truth. So. That's right. I think it's it's the only thing we can do. It's righteous. Absolutely, mate. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Shake my hand. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Cheers. See ya.